Now for the Republican side, let's bring in Arkansas Congressman and member of the House Intelligence Committee, Rick Crawford. Congressman, thanks for joining us on this Sunday afternoon. We appreciate it.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
Well, let's kick things off. Chris Wallace was pressing Mulvaney this morning about what happened during that really remarkable press conference last week. He pointed out that a reporter directly challenged Mulvaney, specifically noting that Mulvaney had described regarding funding not flowing to the Ukraine unless an investigation into the DNC server happened. That looked like a quid pro quo in the situation. Mulvaney had said we do that all the time. But at the point that the point he tried to make this morning was essentially this.
Look to the facts on the ground, things that you can actually sort of certify. And what should put this issue to bed is that the money flowed without any connection whatsoever to the DNC server.
So Ukraine's feet technically not held to the fire. The aid was ultimately released. So let's say the GOP gets on board, acknowledges that the corruption the White House wanted Ukraine to look into included perhaps some of the specific investigation of the DNC server. But then do Republicans say, OK, that's enough. We agree. It's time to impeach. It's time to look at this inquiry of a sitting president. Here we are on the cusp of an election year.
Well, you know, look, Mick Mulvaney is he can be blunt. He said some things that the media didn't like the other day. He has since made some clarifications of those comments, and I think that's evident. But with regard to the president's involvement, making comments, any implication of a quid pro quo, I don't see that at all. I think that the president is charged with the responsibility of getting to the bottom of where any election interference originated so that we can secure the 2020 elections. And in order for him to do that, he's got to look back at 2016 because he can't secure the 2020 election without knowing where the problems came from in 2016. And so I think it's entirely appropriate to take that action.
Do you think any of your Republican or Democratic colleagues share that sentiment in any way, that that's what is the real effort going on here and that everyone should be on board to make that happen?
Well, I certainly hope so, because we can't tell the president one thing and then expect something different. If it's his responsibility to secure our elections, then he needs to use what tools are necessary to secure the elections going forward. I think it's important to note that he was the target in this. So obviously he would have a vested interest in making sure that this is addressed for future presidents, so they're not targeted.
You know, sticking with the impeachment
inquiry, I don't understand what the problem is.
Yeah, sticking with the impeachment inquiry for a moment, without a floor vote, by the way, rankling some Republicans. But a lot is happening behind closed doors. You know, a slew of depositions. You as a congressman have a window in all of this. Do you think the American people should have greater access, more of a window in what's happening behind those closed doors?
Well, I think that if there was a case for impeachment, it would not be behind closed doors. This would be made before the American people. What we know about Adam Schiff and others on the committee is that they like to leak selective information to support the narrative that they're driving about President Trump. And since if they put this out in public, they would lose the control of the narrative, because then we would be allowed to ask questions, we would be allowed to subpoena witnesses, the White House would be allowed to have counsel present, and that would upend the entire narrative. And so he does this in secret, comes out and selectively leaks tidbits of the conversation out of context, and then that supports the narrative. And so that's why this thing needs to be brought out into the open. And we shall see if it is. And now, regarding Doral, the administration, a lot of pushback from both sides of the aisle. They've decided to drop the Trump family's resort in Florida as the host for the next G7. In a tweet, the president blamed the media. The Democrat crazed irrational hostility. He had said, he also complains about Biden's son working for a company in the same country where the VP was investigating corruption. He hires his own family members as advisors. He sends his personal attorney to Ukraine. I mean, some people are concerned that the president too often mingles the personal and the official. Are you concerned? Well, it didn't bother me necessarily. You know, the Doral issue is probably the optics of it. Look, I mean, if it's a nice place and it's an appropriate location and there's security issues addressed, I'm not sure how much money President Trump would have made from that anyway. I mean, he owns it, and so maybe he would, you know, the folks that are managing it were making an offer and a competitive bid. I don't know. We don't know the details of that, but I do agree that the optics were really looked bad, and so I think he made the right choice in pulling that away and saying we're not going to go there now because people just didn't really appreciate that. I get it. That's fine.
Yeah.
I think he made the right choice.
Yeah.
So now we just need
Certainly
to find
we
a
all
location
remember
where we
those
can
beautiful
secure that
seaside
appropriately.
pictures in Biarritz, France. So that's, of course, something any resort might like to see broadcast around the world. Representative Rick Crawford, thanks so much for joining us today. We appreciate it.
You bet. Thanks for having me.